Hello, my dear spectators. This is Akiraka Eiri, tabletop RPG enthusiast, game master, and eyeball monster. And welcome to Akiraka channel. This might be the first time people from the Japanese side see me speak in English, and for you who have come to my channel for the first time, thank you for coming. As an upstart virtual YouTuber, this means a lot to me. So hey, thank you all for coming. As you can see, this is my English debut. I have prepared a simple slide explaining who the hell I am, what I plan to do, and other activities related to myself. And as you can see, I am basically frozen from all the excitement of being able to do an English debut as well. My Japanese debut was completed the previous week, so if you want to see me speak in Japanese, you can feel free to go ahead and look at that one as well. So, without any further ado, let me first get rid of my mask so we can speak better. As you can see, my model is an amazing one. My hands can move. I can move all of my fingers at once. I can count, which is actually really amazing. And if you guys have any problem with my voice, the background music that I have set, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll get it fixed. Very well then. Without any further ado, let us go to who the hell I am. Alright then. I hope the comments do show all right. Yep, they do. So who the hell am I? Profile-wise, I've thrown this around on Twitter a lot, so some of you might have already seen it, but I am Akiraka Eiri. I do tabletop RPGs here in Japan. I mostly play with my game groups, but I also do a couple of collabs here and now. You'll have the chance to look at my other tables that I do inside this stream. Now, profile-wise, oh boy, this is really small. This is very small. I was supposed to enlarge this a bit, but it doesn't matter. Allow me to explain this in order. Now, I have just recently started doing virtual YouTubing. I mainly stream in Japanese, but profile-wise, as you can see over here, I am a creature made of eyeballs, all of which hang under my coat. As viewers increase, so do my eyeballs. So I'm going to refer to you people as my spectators, my dear eyeballs, and all that sort of things. I will mostly be streaming tabletop RPGs, and as such, my dream is to give you people the best experience that there is when playing tabletop RPGs. But I want you guys to look at my model. Just look at it. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. Look at these eyes. These eyes have the power to nullify magic spells in a 120 feet cone in front of myself. Feet is a fictional unit used in fantasy games like Dungeons and Dragons. It does not exist in real life, and no sane country would use that. Rule 0 shirt. In Japanese, hold on, I want to use this other hand. So in Japanese, this shirt means Rule 0. Some of you that come from the English-speaking community might understand Rule 0 as the rule that comes above all the rules. Your fun comes beyond the system's rules, or your game master is always right. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that I keep this on myself to remind myself that my players are the reason that I run tabletop RPGs, and want to keep it in mind and give them the best possible experience, regardless of what the rules as written say. So that's with it. And from below my cloak hang my eyeballs. I've got a bunch of these hanged and tucked nicely in my head. As you can see, I have a ponytail here. And from this ponytail, a million eyeballs emerge as I see fit. Each one of them can throw special status effect beams at you. You can see from here we have a charm, confusion, paralysis, and slow. Please tell me, which one do you like? Now, as I said over and over, I play tabletop RPGs. Now, notice that tabletop RPGs in Japan, it's not TTRPG, it's TRPG. There's one T is lacking there, which is a huge difference, mind you. If you are using Twitter or any other social media and you are trying to reach for a Japanese audience, do mind of this difference. It can make a difference from my, I don't know, a person in Japan finding your content or them never meeting it. This single T makes the whole difference. Ah, thank you. Thank you, my dear eyeball, for joining me on the fray. Now, I play Dungeons and Dragons, as you can see from all the profile that I've basically told you up until now. You can most probably guess my true identity. Hey there, greetings. Thank you for coming to my stream. You can most probably guess my identity by now, but I'm not allowed to tell you due to vague and reasons beyond myself. Dungeons & Dragons is what I run most of the time. Some people might call me crazy, but I have about 7 to 8 games a week. More to that later. I'm not gonna tell you people much about Dungeons & Dragons. You most probably already know what Dungeons & Dragons is. But did you know, in Japan, Call of Cthulhu is the tabletop RPG. Now, if I was in the West, if I mentioned Dungeons & Dragons, all of you would immediately understand that I'm talking about tabletop RPGs. But here in Japan, it's all different. Call of Cthulhu is the tabletop RPG. You'd actually be quite surprised about this. Share-wise, Call of Cthulhu alone topples more than 50% of all the tabletop RPGs in Japan, which is mind-blowing to some of you. What about Dungeons & Dragons? It's what Call of Cthulhu is in the West. So, no offense to all the people that play both of the systems. I'm just saying that these are the numbers here in Japan. So, they're basically the opposite. They've switched roles. And in Japan, when you say Call of Cthulhu, or when you say tabletop RPG, this is exactly what people first think of. Of course, this is not really true for many people, but still, in Japan, if you say Call of Cthulhu, that is equivalent with tabletop RPGs. So you should keep that in mind. I am later on going to make streams detailing why this happened in Japan. It's a very interesting story, given that in Japan both Dungeons & Dragons and Call of Cthulhu started on equal grounds. In the West, you might actually understand that Dungeons & Dragons had a larger follower base than Call of Cthulhu right at the start. So they had a good head start compared to Call of Cthulhu. But in Japan, they mostly started even. And when starting even here in Japan, something really wonderful happened. And I'll talk about that later on. Another one that I want to talk about is Draconian products. Draconian is a small publisher group here in Japan. They release custom systems that you've most probably never heard about. I want to take this time to tell you people about my passion and love about these products. I mainly run Dungeons & Dragons, but on the off time, I always try to find the time to run these products. They are... Yeah, I love them. I love them. And some of the rules that I've taken from these systems, they can be found in my Dungeons & Dragons house rules and homebrew in general. The first one that I want to show to you people is Airgatlam the Answerer. Airgatlam is the, I think, Celtic or Old English name for Silver Hand, I think. It's also the name that is given to a legendary sword as well. Hey, thank you for the cheering me. Yeah, this is my first debut in English. It's been a while that I've talked this much in English, so my English is also a bit rusty. But yeah, where was I? Yes, Airgatlam the Answerer. As you can see from the cover, this system is pilots riding mechas and fighting kaijus all over. But there's a few catches. I want you people to actually listen to this one because it's really interesting. Now, mankind is doomed. Earth has been destroyed, and the last few survivors are drifting in space. And while drifting in space, they have built special spaceships, but kaijus coming from the red sea particles of the space are trying to destroy them. And that's when children ride these robots called the Airgatlam and fight the kaijus, which is really amazing. But you actually create two characters here. You create your own pilot, and you also create the caretaker, the mentor of the pilot. You're most probably wondering to yourself, but hey, how do I roleplay two characters at once? Isn't that difficult? You're wrong. You create two characters, but your pilot and mentor, they get paired with the pilot and mentors of other players. So if there's a game master and two players, there'd be 4 player characters, and each one of them would swap roles with each other. So my pilot would be taken care by the mentor of another player. But on a single scene, one person does not have to do 2 roles, which is actually quite interesting. You spend the entire game, you just spend it role-playing. The pilot and the mentor, they go on a date, they go to school, they go shopping, they go into the park, anything. They spend quality time together, bonding inside the spaceship. Then, in the very final moments, the kaiju attacks. The pilot has to sortie, and the mentor sees them off to an impossible mission where they might never return. It's actually quite easy to win in this game. The robot has energy that they can use to power up their equipment, but you need to make sure that you have enough energy to come back after the combat. So do you go all in and defeat the kaiju, but risk never returning? Or do you play it carefully and try to leave as much energy possible to get back to your mentor that you just spent an entire session bonding with? The feels on this system are unreal. There is unfortunately no English version of this, but in the future I do plan to make a English game with this one and gather as many English-speaking VTubers that are interested and run this thing. Because this is a roller coaster of emotions, and I want all of you to try it out. Another one from Draconian is basically Airgatlam, but more mild. The setting is the same. Earth has been destroyed. Mankind is living on plates. For you flat earthers, congratulations, the Earth here is flat. But there's different layers of Earth, stacked one on top of another. And each one of them is a different world. One of them might be our modern day world, another one might be sword and sorcery, another one might be steampunk. You can create your own world here. Players also create 2 characters here. The first one is the Bringer, and the second one is the Sheath. The Sheath transforms into the weapon of the Bringer, and they fight together against, well, kaijus, and people that have been corrupted by kaijus. If they manage to kill enough of them and survive, in the end, they get to grant their wish. It's pretty much the same. You spend the entire session bonding with your partner, and in the end, you go to combat. But it's much less gruesome than the previous one. Another one that you might have never heard of is Storyteller. This just released in Japan. It's a new one. Have you people ever watched Spy Family? I think it's an anime that is quite big during the time that I'm doing my English debut. There's basically, the gist is there's a family of a father, loving mother, and their child, but they actually are hiding their true identities. The father is a spy, the mother is an assassin, and their kid has psychic powers. They're not a true family, it's just a makeup until the spy can fulfill his mission. This is basically the premise of Storyteller. You are given a scenario, you are given a front of your character, and you're also given a back of your character. The true identity of your character is written on the back side. You might be a loving father, but in fact you're a spy. You're trying to plot to overturn the current government, and your entire family is just a made-up family just to achieve that objective. Or you could be hero party. You are set out to defeat the demon lord, but among you is the demon lord, perhaps. You just roleplay in this system. You are given scenarios, you're given keywords, and you just roleplay. Your characters do not have abilities, your characters do not have dice rolls, you do not need to worry about any of that thing. Yeah, Spy Family is a really good manga. I've watched the manga, I've read the manga, I'm also watching the anime right now. It's really gorgeous. I suggest each one of you take a look at it. And in Storyteller, one amazing thing is the players are given all the details right at the start. Imagine playing Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu for the Japanese viewers, and a player takes a peek at your Dungeon Master's notes. That's unforgivable, right? Nope. In Storyteller, everyone can look on the Dungeon Master's screen. All of the secrets, the front and the true identity of each of the characters is relayed to everyone at the start. They all know who they are. Knowing that, they roleplay. Just like in Spy Family, we all know their identities. The characters do not. The characters themselves do not. But we, the players, know that. It's a split between in-character and out-of-character. This system does that wonderfully. It's very rules-light. There's, of course, no English version. But as I said before, I do plan to run English games with this in a couple of months once I've sorted all of the virtual YouTubing thing out. But enough with Draconian products, because I might end up talking about them all day long. Now let's go back a bit. And I do a lot of things. First, I run paid gigs in Dungeons and Dragons. You'd call that a professional game master over here. I'm actually blessed by many good people that are willing to hire me for money to run games for them, which is an honor for me. Now, allow me to tell you how my games actually go like. I've got some screenshots from the recent games. Dungeons & Dragons, you might know Call of the Netherdeep. It just released the previous month, and I'm running it with my playgroup. Sorry, the image is a bit small. I am running this using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. It's a really good tool. I would like all of you to also check it out if you got the time. I've made sure to... I spent a lot of time on this overlay. Each one of the characters gets their hit points, their spell slots. People can look at the chat and all that sort of things, so that they can have a grasp on what the hell is going on with the table. I see many Dungeons & Dragons podcasts and streams, but none of them actually display their in-game chat properly. So I've actually tried to make it easy to track what is going on. Most of the player abilities, spells, and whatnot show up on the chat, so viewers can have an easy time reading that, or even pause the video and just take a look at what the hell is going on. I also run Dragon Heist. I just recently started doing this. It's a collaboration with 4 other virtual YouTubers. I'm truly blessed to have them around. Okay, this one is a bit bigger. We are running Dragon Heist with evil characters. I noticed that in the normal Dragon Heist run, the entire heist thing is lacking or non-existent. I decided to change that. All of the characters are agents of the Zentarium. And being agents, they are running around trying to find what is going on with the 500,000 missing gold pieces, and if possible, snatch them for themselves. So after this one, I completely forgot what I prepared. Oh, yeah. So exactly how many games do I run? Roughly 4 or 5 tables per week. I GM roughly 4 to 5 tables per week. 3 of them are currently being streamed. The Netherdeep one, the Dragon Heist one. I also run Candlekeep Mysteries. I've tied all of the adventures together in one big campaign. If we also include the games where I'm a player, this goes up to 7 to 8 games per week. It's crazy, but I like it. And I'm blessed with some really amazing friends to be able to do this. Each game, I usually run it for about 2 to 3 hours each. Mostly, we play online. So that's the reason why I can keep cramming them in. Otherwise it would be really difficult with everyone having their day jobs and whatnot. As for future activities, I mainly stream in Japanese, so I won't be able to throw out as many videos in English, but I do have some interesting one planned out. Oh, hold on, I went too fast. First one will be Galapagos stories from Japan. Yes, the Galapagos Island. In Japan, many weird and wacky traditions have been born when it comes to tabletop RPGs. And Japanese people refer to these as Galapagos, as in only in Japan. I do not know if this is a pejorative or a good one to say, but mostly they're called as Galapagos. As such, I'm going to compile some interesting facts about tabletop RPGs in Japan, and I'm going to show them all to you at once. For a sneak peek, did you people know in Call of Cthulhu, Japan has revival games. Yeah, revival games. Let's say you're playing Call of Cthulhu, your character died a tragic death. Oh no, you can't use that character again. Nope. Here, if you go to a revival table, once you complete the session, your character is revived. Usually through the shenanigans of Nyarlathotep or other elder gods in the Cthulhu universe. It doesn't matter, the character has been revived. So, good job, you can now take that character back to your table. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but there are tables like this. I don't know if the previous game master is going to accept that or not, but it is one interesting thing that has been happening in Japan. They're very rare and usually are frowned upon, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Next one is, if you notice from my 2 game screens, I use a lot of anime-ish assets. Where do I get them? From Booth. Okay, hold on, that's too fast. Yeah, so Booth is a not virtual, but online commerce site where people sell different assets. Not just portraits, but also assets that you can use to create your own landing pages and game rooms in virtual tabletops. I pretty much browse this every day, trying to look for character art that I can just buy out and use on my tables. I'm going to compile a list of my best recommendations so you can have some top quality art in your games as well. Next up, I have D&D stories. This is actually going to be different whether you listen it to English or Japanese. In Japanese, for example, let's start with Curse of Strahd, an amazing adventure, an excellent adventure. I have run this like 7 times. I'm on a 7th table right now. Excellent, just excellent. But my point is, if you're watching this in Japanese, it's mostly going to be focused on how to run the adventure. But if you're watching it in English, I'm mostly going to compile interesting stories that have happened to my own gaming group. Reason for this is, well, if you can speak English, don't come and watch my video. Go to Curse of Strahd Reddit and go and read all of the wonderful articles from all the people there. They're way better than me when it comes to making up runs of Curse of Strahd. So you should look at that instead. But What I can offer that's unique to my table are all the shenanigans that have happened over here. I'm mostly going to focus on those in English. In Japanese, you'll be getting a game guide. There's also Tales from the Yawning Portal. Tales from the Yawning Portal has a special place in my heart. It's the first one that I managed to mash all of the separate adventures into one big campaign. Half of it was pretty much homebrewed from different sources that I found online, and I managed to run this till the very end. A lot of stuff happened during the run. I have some great Dungeon Master advice just by talking about Tales from the Yawning Portal. But, in general, as I said, if you're watching this in Japanese, I'm most probably going to teach you how to connect short adventures to make one long running campaign. And last one is Wild Beyond Witchlight. This is also another Dungeons & Dragons adventure that has just released. I am running this right as we speak. In fact, once I'm done with the English debut, in about 2 hours from now, I'm running this. In roughly 2 hours from now, I'm running this. So after I'm done with the stream, I'll be prepping and running it. Next up, I completely forgot my schedule. Or yeah, in the end, I have some special thanks to all the people that have made it possible for myself to come all the way where I am right now, especially starting my endeavors as a virtual YouTuber. First and foremost, Model. This was created by the talented So. You can find his Twitter link in the descriptions below. Overlay? Did I typo that? I typoed that. Sorry. Right, a person named Iris is the one that made the entire overlay that you're looking at now. Very talented. So if you're looking for a good streaming overlay, hit them up. The logo, this one, the Akiraka channel logo was made by Hiroto. Their link is also in the description below. Thank you for the amazing logo. And in the end, my playgroup and all the wonderful people that have joined me on this debut stream. My entire body was frozen when I started streaming, but I'm feeling better now. My entire playgroup has been very supportive of me when I started doing virtual YouTubing, and thanks to them, I am able to do the debut and all of the wonderful games that I am running right now. Without their help, it would have been impossible. And this pretty much concludes all of the slides that I had. Now I would like to return to the previous screen. If you people have any questions that you'd like to ask me, now would be the time. If you have any favorite tabletop RPGs, feel free to throw in comments. In the meanwhile, I am going to talk about the amazing crunch that I do. Most people might think that I'm crazy running 4 to 5 games a week. But that's because my entire prepping is, I can do 2 hours of prep, which gives me roughly 3 hours of game time. It's really crazy, but the reason why I'm able to do this is Foundry Virtual Tabletop is really great for keeping data and managing data in general. As I play more and more games, I gather more and more data that I can just recycle and use on other games. I also have a bunch of Patreon subscriptions going around with wonderful maps and assets. I usually scavenge assets all day long. The more assets that you have, the more things you can, well, technically speaking, pull out of your ass when you need stuff going on during the game. This entire basically thing that I have going with tabletop RPGs is all thanks to being able to do quality prep time. Prepare what you need to prepare, don't prepare what is overly excessive, and just run whatever you need to do at that time. I make it seem simple, but it has taken quite a lot of time and practice to get to this time. This entire process is the one that I've stolen from, not really stolen, but I've read from the Angry Dungeon Master. That person has some amazing articles online. And if you go and read them, you'll most probably be able to understand what I mean by doing proper crunch. Hey, yeah, thanks. Foundry really is a time saver with all the automation and the data that you're able to pack with it. Especially the automation, I actually like it. It does all of the Dungeons & Dragons number crunching, like checking if the attack hit over their armor class, and if it does hit, how much damage does it deal? All that sort of things. And while the tool is doing all the automation, I, as the Dungeon Master, am able to think of, I don't know, narration, descriptions, and all that sort of things. I can think ahead of other things about the game, rather than just thinking of what these numbers mean. Because I'm really bad at math. So yeah. Alright, if there's no any other comments, then this will be it then. Oh, I was supposed to show you my entire model, I think. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I think I had it somewhere in here where I'm supposed to show you my entire model. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a moment. Yeah, this is a really wonderful model. It moves a lot, as you can see. There's a really wide movement range. I can move my hands freely, also my fingers, which is really amazing. As you saw from the previous screen, I'm able to point at stuff on the screen, which is really amazing. Hey, thank you. Currently, I am running a lot of games, so I need to settle things down for a moment. But I promise you, during the August and September, I will be looking for English games with English players. In that time, if any of you are interested, feel free to follow me on Twitter, and you'll be able to see that tweet about that. Now, let me return the model to where it was. All right, perfect. And with that, pretty much concludes everything that I had to do in my English debut. Thank you all for coming, and this has been Akiraka Eiri, and thank you for coming to Akiraka channel. Right now, as I'm done with this debut, I'll be going back to crunch for my next game. If you guys would like to see my other games, although in Moonrunes and Japanese, feel free to follow me on YouTube. If you still haven't followed and liked this video, please do so right now. I am going to really appreciate it. So thanks for coming, and see you again!